Southland is the latest beneficiary of New Zealand's first $1 billion a year baby, the Provincial Growth Fund. More than $3.5 million is being spent on projects in Gore, like the redevelopment of the Hokanui Moonshine Museum. It comes in the wake of concerns over how the $3 billion fund is being spent. The Auditor General's ordered an in-depth review into its management, monitoring and evaluation. Regional Economic Development Minister visited the remote Bay of Plenty town of Minganui yesterday, where last March he pledged almost $6 million to boost the local nursery and create jobs. When he sat down with our reporter Alex Perrottet, he said he welcomes the scrutiny of the Auditor General. And in the face of criticism over his public comments, he reiterated his view, wait for it, that no stone shall be put upon the tongue of the champion of the regions.
When you're a government, you want the next generation to grow up having better opportunities than perhaps their parents had. That costs money. So I often think of the Provincial Growth Fund in the Minganui locations as being an opportunity to correct market failure. Because if the market was going to deliver a solution here, it would have already done it. The fact that the Audit Department is going to have a close look at the processes and a number of the projects that we're funding, I expect that to happen. I realise that this is public money. We have to be accountable to Parliament. We have to be accountable to the public. So look, I'm not cowering in the face of the fact that the audit office want to work closer with the government officials and have a look at the processes.
Because on the face of it, the fact that you've got at least 3 ministries involved here, you think, well, there's a lot of oversight. But what the Auditor General is actually saying is that because you've got lots of different ministries, there could be more risk of misappropriation of funds. Is that news to you?
Well, nigh on $1 billion of the $3 billion has been allocated towards infrastructure and Te Ururako. Te Ururako have got the thick end of $500 million of the $3 billion. And then Kiwi Rail, they're going to be handsome beneficiaries of the fund as well. And we've funded the more egregious examples of roading failure and Tairāwhiti and other such places. So just there you have 3 entities. But I would put it to you that NZTA is a robust organisation. They have their own processes for accounting for money. I would put it to you that Kiwi Rail have lived on the smell of an oily rag. And Te Ururako, whilst it's a new entity, it is part of MPI, and MPI's had a hell of a lot of experience administering grant schemes. And for example, they had the experience of the primary growth initiatives over the last 9 years. But look, I'll just have the officials work away with the Audit Department. The media have pointed out that this is quite a substantial decision made by the Audit Department. I just expect them to do their job.
But there is a concern, obviously, that when you've got such a big bag of cash, that there's going to be some waste. I mean, we had 160 grand worth of seeds being mulched because the land wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
Are you? I mean, what percentage, what fraction of the investment are you happy to risk wasting?
Well, look, what I'd say is that it's the most ambitious scheme of any OECD country. It's a $3 billion fund over a 3-year period. I'm not dwarfed by the politics associated with that, but I'm acutely conscious that this is a New Zealand government doing something that's never been done since the days of Think Big. But if we wanted to be transformational as a government, then I genuinely believe a lot of these interventions are transformational. I'm not going to identify a figure as to what's a tolerable level of waste, because that's political suicide. I don't want to see any of it wasted. I am conscious, though, that there will be many pricks of light shining upon what we're doing, but that's just the nature of being a politician in quite a volatile area, i.e. the allocation into projects of $3 billion.
When you are out in the regions, such as when you're in Northland and you're talking to a group of people that include your ne'er-do-well nefs and you're trying to get them off the couch, you, like your own leader of your political party, use your words with intention. You know, you're known as the minister who speaks in, I suppose, Shakespearean platitudes and biblical proverbs. It's, in a certain sense, it reeks of rehearsal sometimes, in that you've thought of these things before you say it. When you're up north, you talk about locals getting jobs rather than, and you singled out Filipino Catholic migrants. Yeah. You intentionally did that. Why?
Well, I'm very disappointed that the heavy freight industry have not trained and developed our own people. I genuinely am. I come from a time where lots of families, their sons and daughters, they made a good living working in those industries. And a lot of the talent from that industry has disappeared to Australia. We can't match the salaries. So I do worry immensely as a Kiwi that we're so reliant, for example, in dairy and the heavy freight industry, we're so reliant on migrant labour.
But you're trying to talk to your people to get them into those positions, which is a wonderful sentiment. But is it ever right to single out a single race, a single religion, in order to lift someone else? Is that acceptable in politics and society?
Well, I think we're dealing. Look, we're in a period of time where someone like me, when I speak in an earthy fashion, and I don't seem to be using my verbal skills to distribute the milk of human kindness, that somehow I'm being nasty, or somehow that I'm stigmatising a group. I never ever encounter that view in the north. It's just Shane Jones, not so much telling it the way it is, talking as he ordinarily does. You could tape me secretly and there's not a racist bone in my body. But I am incredibly disappointed that the way in which the economy has evolved, and maybe it's too late to change, I'm not sure, that we don't even have our own people doing these jobs. They can't even pass a drug test. They can't even pass an alcohol-free test to do these jobs, and as a Māori, that enrages me.
So no apologies?
Look, I'm the first one to say from time to time my language is injudicious, and at no time did I ever want to offend a believer of the Catholic Church. I don't like people criticising my Anglican Church, and it's disappointing, and I'd be disappointed in myself if those words were construed as the vocab of a fascist. There's nothing fascist about me at all. I'm just a robust, earthy, slightly injudicious politician.
Minister Shane Jones there speaking to Alex Perrottet. Again, there is video with that story, so if you're just listening in while you're driving along or heading home, do check it out on our website or on Facebook. It's worth another watch.